Hello, can you hear me in the back?
Hey, we're starting.
Class.
Rowdy kids, Dan. Rowdy kids.
Hi, my name is Dan. Welcome to Book Soup. We're getting ready to start. I'm just going to turn it over to Adam, and he can wrangle you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have the store so full of people, and that usually happens when we have an event with Adam Novak. Woo! This is his fourth book and his fourth party at Book Soup. Of this new novel, which we have available at the register, as many of you may have a copy already, thank you for that. Here is what a few people have said about this novel. Alexander Payne, Academy Award-winning writer, director of Sideways and The Descendants, called Rat Park the craziest goddamn thing I've read in a long time. From Jerry Stahl, author of Permanent Midnight, I'm sniffing a breakthrough. It's like Bret Easton Ellis and Philip K. Dick had a baby, and the baby wrote a book. Henry Bean, writer of the movie Internal Affairs, said, "The language is astonishing, the energy of imagination is unflagging, the wit cruel and precise. Every sentence is a pleasure to read." So just a quick note, after the reading, Adam will take a few questions from the audience, and then he will sign books at the back desk. Thank you all. And without further ado, here is Adam Novak.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Dan. And everyone at Book Soup for throwing us this party and shamelessly promoting this novel. I hope the t-shirt behind the counter stays there forever. I'm also grateful to Dave Meganhart of Red Giant Books in Cleveland for publishing me. This novel answers the question, what's harder to survive, Islamic captivity or marriage? Tonight, I'm not going to read chapter 12. Tonight, you're going to hear how Lester and Raquel met, fell in love, got married. Before Raquel became a novelist and checked out. Before Lester got kidnapped in northern Africa. And before they order an Israeli sex droid to save their marriage. This is Rat Park. Hurtling down El Contento Drive in the hills of Beechwood Canyon, Lester Barnes is listening to Pornhub on his Bluetooth car stereo. The agent's Emerald Range Rover doesn't slow down, and neither does an oblivious white Prius on the curly street 100 yards below him. Whipping around a blind corner, the Prius fills his windshield, triggering Lester Barnes to slam on his brakes. Tires screech and smoke. License plates kiss, but do not collide. What the fuck? The fuck is wrong with you? Screams Lester Barnes, jumping out of his Range Rover to examine his grill. Fine. Except the plastic license plate holder is shattered. The other driver, a rotund woman in her early 30s, no makeup, lioness mane of cinnamon hair, bounces out wearing a Club Sandwiches, not Seals, t-shirt. Language. You were going pretty fast around that corner, buddy. Good thing I reacted the way I did, or this could have been a real disaster. Are you all right? You look kind of shaken up. You should fucking slow down when you hit those corners. You don't need to swear. We were both going fast. Looks like my little coachie survived getting rammed by your movie tank. Movie tank. You're funny. I won't report this to my insurance company if you won't. We don't have to file anything since we both took responsibility. Can I have your information in case I decide to file a claim with my insurance company? Says Lester, showing his insurance card. Give me 1 second. Here's mine. She hands over her insurance card when Werner Bardot's shaking leg orgasm compilation resumes playing from inside the Range Rover. That's definitely not K-Rock. Lester Barnes raises a finger to Raquel's raised eyebrow, darts away to silence the quaking from his movie tank, and returns to the accident scene. I won't tell USAA about you if you won't, he says. I won't tell farmers about you porn. Raquel knows loneliness when she hears it. Pausing at her door handle, considering that orgasm soundtrack, wondering who, why, what the hell, when... Raquel! She looks back, flashes a smile, her best curve. You're not in the industry, are you? What industry? Thank God, he says. A civilian. Lester continues driving to go see his shrink. Find your park, Lester, and you won't live in a cage. Is that what your fortune cookie said last night at Shanghai Palace? Says Lester Barnes, staring out the window overlooking Montana Avenue in Brentwood. Do you have sex with people with whom you normally would not associate? Yes, says Lester Barnes. Do you usually want to get away from your sexual partner after an encounter? Absolutely. Do you use sex to escape from uncomfortable feelings such as anxiety, fear, anger, resentment, which disappear when the sexual obsession starts? Yes. Does life seem meaningless and hopeless without a sexual encounter? Of course. Why are you here? I got caught. It was your office versus Gordon County. Think about a lab rat and a Native American Indian on a reservation, says the silver-haired shrink. They both live in cages. I don't get it. Did you ever hear about the experiment they did with lab rats to prove that drugs were not dangerously addictive? Not addictive? This team of psychologists took 24 rats and put half of them in cages of solitary confinement. The other 12 got to live in a park with food, females, and fun things to do. They gave the rats the option of drinking plain water or sugar water spiked with heroin. All the rats in solitary OD'd. The psychologists behind the experiment realized the rats chose heroin not because it was addictive, but because of their confinement. They needed existential relief, said Lester Barnes. They chose an addictive lifestyle to deaden the pain. They chose to escape to a double life. Who are we talking about? We're talking about me, says Lester Barnes. Lose the cage. Find your park. Now, using the information Googled from her insurance card, Lester Barnes discovers that Raquel Donner is the principal of a rundown public school in Silver Lake. As the head of the agency, he arranges for all the agents to fix up Raquel's school for their mandatory volunteer days. Inside the prison-like boys' bathroom, Lester Barnes washes his hands with antibacterial soap, checks his hair, teeth, and gut in the mirror. Surveying the playground, he smiles distractedly at colleagues painting murals of whales and butterflies on the school walls. Notices the resurrected vegetable garden, turns a corner, and collides with Edgecliff principal Raquel Donner. This time, their fender bender is calamitous, dropping them to the blacktop, clutching their heads in pain, laughing at the absurdity of their connective tissue. Farmers! We gotta pump the brakes. The movie gods are smiling in their cup holder seats. Did you do all this for my shattered license plate? What are the odds? 0. Zilch. Donut. What about destiny? He says. After months of online dating pond scum, Raquel's tingling spider sense alerts her to an ocean of possibility. She says, I'll take destiny over donuts any day. Where are you headed? I was going to stack books in the library. She said, so was I. At the direction of Mrs. Laws, the flagpole-shaped school librarian, Raquel and Lester Barnes shelve paperbacks alongside television literary agents and motion picture talent assistants, unpacking boxes of brand new books. Raquel inhales Lester's crisp scent, perhaps wondering what it would be like to shattering her fantasy. Lester Barnes holds up a volume of Jane Eyre in front of her face. When I was little, I called this Jane Eyre. In high school, they called me Ricannibal. What'd you do? Eat your prom date? You ever heard of the Donner Party? Was that on HBO last month? My grandfather's great-great-grandfather dreamed of seeing the Pacific Ocean. He and his wagons got caught in the Sierra Nevada mountains during a harsh winter, and they had to resort to cannibalism to survive. It's probably why we have food issues in my family. Can I call you Raquel? Only if I can call you Lester. No, I mean, do you want to have coffee? I don't want to have coffee with you. I get it. No, I can't break away to see you during the day. I don't want a 10-minute coffee with a ceiling. No ceiling, fuck coffee. They look around. Nobody heard him swear. Raquel, you want to have breakfast with me at the 101 or Beechwood Cafe? Fuck breakfast, she says, trying on profanity. Let's grab an early dinner, Thursday. Done. Korean barbecue. Soup Bulji. Lester Barnes is thrilled that Raquel knows the only meat salon worth going to is at 8th and Catalina. Or we could do Thai. She said, Jitlada. I could do Jitlada. Or Salam Nung Muang Cafe. We could do Indian, he says. There's only one place to go for Indian. Anarkali, they both say. The owner calls me very hot, she says. Have you seen his beard lately? He finally looks like the old Sikh in the kitchen. Shanghai Palace? Asked Lester Barnes. No way. That place is where you take your parents. You're right. Mandarin Chateau is gone. Mandarin Chateau is gone? It's now an umami burger. I'm exhausted, she says. What did we decide? Soup Bulji. Thursday night, Soup Bulji. I'll pick you up, he says. I'll meet you there. I'm a little leery of your stereo. Lester Barnes returns to his shrink's office. The dream is always the same. The nightman is back, Lester. I wake up screaming. Who is the nightman to you, Lester? Last night it was Mikey. Mikey who gave you his porn collection? Who's Mildred? Mikey, you said Mildred. Mildred Dayton was Mikey's neighbor and my first. First what? First time? First kiss? Both, he tells his shrink. How old were you? 14. How old was she? Very. It's really not funny, Lester. I'm not laughing. I was with her the day she died. Did your father know? What did he say? He told me, don't spend a dime of your allowance on rubbers. Lester, your father is the nightmare. With the nightman is back, obviously I'm terrified. I didn't think my plan would work, but it did. And now I can tell you about the new girl. What plan? I met this civilian, and we fooled around on a second date, which scares me more than the nightman. I never kiss on the lips because, well, you know, I saw a pretty woman, says the shrink. She's a great kisser, let me tell you. I don't know if I'm any good. It's been so long. I mean, who knows? They say kissing is like wine. I have a friend who owns a vineyard in Napa, and people ask him all the time, how do you know if a wine's any good? And he says, when you want to take another sip. The cow spent the night at my place after we had a few drinks at Mink Slide 2. We haven't done it yet. When was the last time you paid for it? This morning, he admits. Couldn't you have had bacon and eggs? Don't knock it till you try it. Later, Lester Barnes and Raquel Donna go out to dinner with her very conservative parents, who he's never met, at their favorite restaurant, to tell them they got married. The table in the back of Shanghai Palace is reserved for the Donner Party. Lester Barnes walks into the Sunday night family dinner at the Chinese restaurant, bumps into Raquel's mother, and pinballs into the chest of his silver-haired father-in-law, whom he recognizes as his coin-appointed Brentwood shrink. Like flash-frozen fish sticks, the gentlemen diffuse their epiphanies of horror with BAFTA-worthy performances. Raquel's father realizes something his wife does not. Their daughter has run off with his legally mandated patient, suffering severe childhood PTSD, deceptive, relational, sexual compulsivity disorder. Lester Barnes and his shrink communicate wordlessly, pretending to study their menus, wheeling cups of hot green tea on the lazy Susan, shielding their lips from Raquel and their mother, discussing their whirlwind romance. This is so wrong! I agree! Order some dishes! Chinese waiter writes down the order of pan-fried veggie dumplings, orange beef, sautéed garlic string beans, and mushu pork with extra hoisin sauce. Lester Barnes decides to tank the evening. Does anyone know where the word honky comes from? Raquel and her mother shake their heads. In Harlem, whenever a white guy in a Mercedes wanted a hooker to come over, he would honk his horn, so the streetwalkers called that guy a honky. Fuck, says the shrink. Dad, what's wrong? Since we're on the subject, the etymology of the word fuck must be discussed. For unlawful carnal knowledge. The Van Halen album, says Lester Barnes. You are half right, says Raquel's father. Half right. There was this cop in New York City who got so tired of doing all the paperwork arresting hookers and johns for unlawful carnal knowledge. He made his own rubber stamp with the letters F-U-C-K, so he could stamp that on all the forms. His wife says, honey, I hate to make you look bad, but the F word was around centuries before that. During the time of the Black Death, it was against the law to have sex in certain European countries. The only way to avoid imprisonment was to have a royal seal on your door that said, fornication under consent of the king. I don't believe that, he says. Mikhail, golf doesn't mean gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. Tips doesn't come from to ensure prompt service. Pluck you, says Lester. Screw you, Les. No, I'm saying that's where the word comes from. In medieval times, England and France were always fighting each other. And the French would cut off the middle fingers of English archers they captured, so they couldn't shoot a bow and arrow or pluck the yew. Every time they went to war, the English would scream, "Pluck you!" and raise their middle fingers at the French, showing them they could still draw the string of their longbows. This one-finger salute over the years became the table erupts with laughter and extended middle fingers. Tsingtao beers are served, poured, and clinked in a toast to the couple. Tell us about your family, Lester, asked Mikhail's mother. You know what my father did to my mother. How would my dad know that? Do I tell them about Mildred? Who is Mildred? Asked Mikhail's mother. She took my virginity. Pardon? Says Mikhail's mother. He knows me because he's my shrink. Wait, what? Says Mikhail's mother. He knows my cage. You were incarcerated? Tell them what we did, Lester. Mikhail's mother slams down her fist onto the table. What did you do, goddammit? Chopsticks home. E.F. Hutton B. Shanghai Palace, riveted by this unfolding Hulu drama. They eloped, says Mikhail's father. He told me in our last session. Mikhail's mother storms out of the restaurant, pursued by her husband and daughter. Alone at the round table, Lester Bonds pays the check before the dishes ever arrive. Any questions? I have my sign language interpreter to help me with any questions. I can't hear you. Thank you, Tom. I pay him by the word to say nice things. Yeah, Joe.
First of all, Mike, closer to you, please. Bring it over there. For the whole answer. Bring it over. Yeah. No, don't.
I can hear you.
No, not to me. To you.
Okay. Okay. How about?
What percentage of this is supposed to be comedy versus drama versus, in your mind, how funny is this supposed to be? Because sometimes I'm laughing at things that are very, very serious, and I just want to make, I don't know what your intention is.
Hearing you guys laugh is a good feeling. If I cracked myself up when I was writing this, I knew it was good. And if I wrote something that sort of scared me, it was so dramatic, I knew that would be good too.
So it's okay to laugh.
Yeah.
All right. There you go, guys.
Anyone over here? Question?
Well, I'm going to go on the
One more,
back
one
and
more
start
right here.
signing.
One more.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Where did you find the inspiration for the work?
Where did you find the inspiration?
From, I knew that there was something about this book that sometimes the answer is this. Writing is a bit like walking your dog. And sometimes the dog walks you. And that's how I felt about this book.
Okay.
What do you like best, writing or rewriting?
It's rewriting is my favorite part of the process. It's the brick that you start with that makes one suicidal. And you go, who am I kidding? Seriously, who am I kidding? And then when you get to the end, there's a very good book about writing in this store. It's the best book I've ever read about writing a novel, and I'm going to do a shameless plug for it. And it's called Refuse to be Done. And refuse to be done means simply, whether it's a script or a novel, refuse to be done. You're not done. You're not done at all. And it's in rewriting these things for years. There was one novel I did, Take Fountain, that I wrote in 2 months. And I rewrote it for 2 years. So each one is different. I love the process. And it's a miracle that I have been published at all.
So this is your 4th book. Are you creating a universe here? So how does this
Good questions.
how does this book relate to perhaps your previous novels?
There is Lester Barnes is the villain of my first novel, Monica. And Joaquin Phoenix can have his own movie in The Joker. I decided to give the villain of my first novel his own story. And the other 2 were some minor characters in the first novel. And because of the timeline, there are characters who are dead, murdered in books 2 and 3, who make an appearance in 4 because the timeline is they're still alive when this 4th novel took place. So the greatest thing about making a universe, and I'm not the only one who's done it, many people have done it, when you're writing a universe, you cannot wait to hang out with these people. Right.
Thank you.
Who do you see in the film version?
Trick
You know,
question.
I will leave that to the professionals. I will leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, no question.
So, Adam, were you saying that you could never be done? How do you know what, or if you can't be done, well, how do you know when and then?
You know. That's the thing. Refuse to be done, and then when you know, it is a little bit like when your belly tells you you're full. And when you are full, they don't force it, you know you're done. And I've had that experience where, fortunately, when I decided to be done, it was good enough to go out. And it still got rejected for years.
So, but I mean, I don't think anybody knows screenwriting or, better than you do, or the crafting for all of, and I'm sure you've worked on lots of projects that you felt got overdeveloped, God knows I have, where it just, it was one rewrite too many. I mean, it's hard to.
Well, in my case, the secret sauce is that I asked my first publisher, all right, some Portland, Oregon publisher that did mysteries, cozy mysteries. And the first publisher in 2008, I really hadn't written a cozy murder mystery that grandmothers would order in the public libraries, which this guy had a direct distribution deal with every public library in the country.
Oh my God.
And what he would do is he'd say, I'll publish your novel, but I want the rights to your novel in perpetuity. And this lawyer that I had said, Adam, a contract is 7 years. You can get it back in 7 years. I said, you know what, Tony? I'm going to sign it. He said, I'm telling you, as your lawyer, this is in perpetuity, dude. Don't sign it. I said, Tony, I got to go. And I hung up on my lawyer and signed the contract. In perpetuity. But the point is, when I finally spoke to Scott Salvo, Portland, Oregon, I said, Scott, what's the development process like at Salvo? What do you mean? Publishing you in March. 2 words a writer never hears in this business. No notes. No notes. Holy shit. I'm never writing a screenplay again. Yeah.
What's next? Where are you taking this next time?
First rule of Fight Club. John, don't talk about Fight Club.
Right on Sunset.
My running joke with John is that every novel is going to be called Take Willoughby.
Yeah.
Please.
Take Romaine.
I think there's a question about that.
Yes.
Hey, bartender back here. Hey Adam, that was great. I loved how you put some like little anecdotes about how certain words came about. I couldn't hear it too well all the way back here, but I can't wait to read it. I don't know if those are things you learned over the years and you just implemented them into the story, or if you did research on these certain things and added them into the story.
I didn't hear a question. Oh my God. Okay, no, the research is that half this novel takes place in Libya. My father said, son, they're not going to let you into Tripoli. I said, Dad, I'm not Hemingway. I don't have to go there. Okay? Dad, I'm going to say called the internet. I'm going to go to Libya. I'm going to research it. I'm going to look at video of Muammar Gaddafi's beachside palace. And I'm going to write the fuck out of Libya without going there. Tons of research. Tons of research. The worst part about researching the Islamic State was I could never unsee the things that I saw what they would do to their captives. And I spent so much time with the door closed in the office, researching, trying to write about what it might be like to be held captive by the Islamic State. And when I was thinking about, well, what do I call these guys? It can't just be the Islamic State. So I thought, well, I decided to call them, in total seriousness, the Islamic Martyrs Darna Brigade, or IMDb. I said, got it. If I hadn't done my research, I would never know that Darna is a city in Libya. You know, it used to be a great city, now it's rubble. So if it wasn't for that research, I probably wouldn't have had these Eureka's. I'm glad there were more questions.
Any others before we
I don't have another question, but I have an observation. Your sense of wordplay, which at the same time creates a visual, is just beyond belief.
If you knew, I would spend months on a sentence, John. Months. Wake up in the middle of the night and say, wait. And rearrange the sentence until the sentence was done. And then if I left it alone, I never looked at it again. But there have been times in this book where I just focused on the sentences. And I murdered and deleted thousands of them. So what's left is a filler.
It works.
So Adam, is Lester coming back? Are you done with Lester?
I will say this. Lester is making a hell of a cameo in the next one.
Will you look forward to that?
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, they're back there.
Okay, the bar is open. The register is open. More importantly, the register is open, and we have books up there. So please make a purchase at the register. And Adam is going to be at the back info desk signing books. Thank you all for being here.